Hey everybody, how you doing? Today we're going to talk about one of the topics that is very, very important in regards to pre-algebra, which is adding integers. So this is our first look at taking integers, which is our positive and negative numbers, and applying some operations. One of the things about this particular topic is that it completely changes from what we know as elementary school students. It's kind of flipping the grid, because as we'll see, it'll say that we're adding, but in some cases we're not actually going to add. So I have some really great techniques that will help you out. Please make sure to subscribe below and hit the notification button, and as always, please leave a comment if there's anything else you would like help with in regards to this topic. Okay, so the first thing I want to provide for you is something I've been using for a long time, which is this integer song that I didn't come up with, but I found on YouTube years ago. So I don't know really who to give the credit to, but it actually works. I am going to spare you from me actually singing the song, but what we're going to do is look at this first set of lyrics here, which deals primarily with what we're looking at today when it comes to adding. So it says same signs, add and keep. So let's take something that we always worked with, 2 plus 2. Signs are the same. We have a positive 2 plus a positive 2. That gives us 4, which is a positive 4. Looking at that same type of problem, a negative 2 plus a negative 2, well, you'll add that, same signs, both negative, you'll add them, they're 4. The keep means to keep the sign negative, so it's negative 4. All right, the second part says different signs subtract. So if you look here, we have negative 5 plus 3, clearly two different signs, so 5 minus 3 is 2. And then you take the sign of the larger number. So in this case, the 5 would technically, I guess, be the larger number, even though it's actually a negative. So that means our answer will be negative, so it's negative 2. The bottom example here is almost the same, except we have 5 plus negative 3. So once again, the signs are different, so we'll subtract. Take the sign of the larger number. Once again, it's 5, but in this case, it's positive, so it'll just stay as a positive 2 as our answer. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is two different ways in which you can add integers. The first being is using a number line. All right, now this isn't always going to work out when you're dealing with very large numbers, and when we move into decimals and fractions of negative and positive integers, it definitely won't work as well. But we have negative 7, so we're always going to start at the 0. We travel back 7 steps, right, because it's negative. So we end up now at negative 7. Then we're going to add 10. So that's a positive 10. So we travel through, well, 7 brings us right back to the 0. And then we still have to go 3 more. So our final spot would be positive 3. And that would be our answer. All right, another example I show my students, which also doesn't work out all the time with larger numbers, but it gives them an idea of what and why integers work out the way they do when it comes to adding and subtracting them. So once again, it says that we're going to use the same example from before, but let's say that this 7, this negative 7, is represented by 7 negative tokens, or as I call it, I think of the Game of Thrones reference, where these are 7 bad guys, all right? Then on this side, you have 10 positive good guys, all right? So we'll put pluses in here. So this could work with money, which I'll go over in a minute with the word problem, and then also with, if you're talking about science, protons versus electrons. But I guess the non-political correct way of doing this is saying that these guys, the negatives, are going to fight these positives, all right? So for every negative that you have, it's going to cancel out with a positive, all right? So every time these guys are matched up, they cancel each other out. All right, so as we can see, what's left, we clearly have 3 positive tokens left, and as we saw before, our answer is a positive 3. So that's another way to look at it. Okay, here's a good example of a word problem we can apply a lot of times with temperature, geography, financial literacy, sports, if you're talking about golf, football, almost anything. Algebra, pre-algebra, and integers is used. So this is a good example if anyone says, oh, I never used this in real life. So it says here that the temperature dropped 10 degrees in 5 hours. If the starting temperature was 9 degrees, what was the final temperature? So one of the things we got to discuss is that this 5 hours is not very relevant to the problem right now. And we need to figure out where we're going to start. Are we starting with 10 degrees or are we starting with 9? Well, it clearly states here the starting temperature was 9 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So we have 10 degrees here, right, which we want to add to this, all right? But it's indicating that it's dropping. So that's another key word that goes with, as we saw in this previous section, that it's negative. So once again, the signs are different, right? The different signs indicate that we're going to subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. And because this is the larger number, it ends up going to be -1. So our final temperature is -1 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that's our end of our lesson. It's pretty straightforward. Granted, we were only looking at 2 terms in a problem, but you're going to use your order of operations as always. I am going to post a tutorial on subtracting integers, which is slightly different. There's one extra step. Please feel free to leave any types of problems below in the comment section because this is a very basic introduction to adding integers. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you find that this was helpful.